A warm welcome to Lost for Words, a podcast sharing the opinions, glories, and interesting stories of guests. I am your host Jason, and following World Mental Health Day, this week's episode is on the theme of mental health. I am joined by Amy McGale, who's 23 now, but has suffered from anxiety since she was at primary school. She chats to me about the ways in which her anxiety has presented itself throughout her teens and into her adulthood. Amy and I also speak about the impact of Instagram and how that clouds people's perceptions of themselves and others. And having gone on her own mental health journey, Amy speaks about the Instagram page she has set up called Advice with Amy, which seeks to help others going through similar situations that she did in the past. This is a good discussion, and I will speak to you at the other side. A quick housekeeping note before we get started. Please leave a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, or any other platform. It's the best way the podcast can grow and better content can be produced for you, the listener. It's your listening experience that matters the most. But enough from me, now on to today's episode of Lost for Words. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not bad, not bad. How come you're in the car? Are you going somewhere?
No, because my mum and my brother are still in the house, and I stay in quite a small house, but they're just quite nosy. So I thought, do you know what? I'll just come in the car and sit.
Nosy.
But yeah, they're going to hear it anyway. Do you know what I mean? But
Fair enough, fair enough. Good, right, we'll get started and we'll let you back in your house.
no, it's fine.
I'd like to start these things at the beginning, Amy, so just tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how you would describe your own sort of childhood and adolescence.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lindsay. I had quite a good childhood growing up. It was fun. Trying to think, I done dancing a lot. I was like dancing like Monday to Saturday. I was always doing like dance competitions and dance shows. And then probably like when I was 15, things like kind of took a bit of a turn. My mum and dad broke up, and it was quite a traumatic breakup. So probably from then, I feel like I mean, obviously it was quite rubbish at the start, but now, like, everything's absolutely fine. But probably since then, it did start to take a bit of a rocky road. But growing up, I had like a good childhood. I was always going on holidays. I'm so like family orientated, so I was always like dead close with my family and stuff. So, but yeah, no, I don't really have any complaints. Just kind of from 16 onwards, it got a bit. I'm allowed to swear on this because sometimes
Yeah, you can
I have
swear.
but yeah, it did go quite shit. But okay, it is what it is now. That's what I see it as.
You don't want to sound like I'm belittling you, but it's when people's parents break up, that's a trigger for a lot of things.
No, that is. I think from a young age, I've kind of always like suffered from anxiety. Um, and I feel like I didn't really know how to kind of show my emotions. And then I think when my mum and dad split up, it just I kind of realised I had so much anger and frustration. And I think I just kind of realised then I was like, oh God, I've actually been holding like quite a lot of like anxiety in for quite a while, and this is kind of all coming out now. Because like when I was younger and stuff, I was so homesick, like ridiculously homesick. I couldn't even go and like how like in primary school you go like
Yeah.
I couldn't even go to that. Like I think it was like in Argentina or something, and it was only like an hour away. But I do not. I remember when I was younger, and I got the letter, and I was pure dreading it because I was like, oh, everybody's obviously going to go, and I remember feeling I was like, right, I'm just going to go be absolutely fine. It's only an hour's drive, and I'd paid the deposit and everything. And then a couple of weeks before that, I was like, I can't do it. And don't know what it was about not being in my house because see, when I was younger, me and my mum used to argue like with our sisters. Like it was it was weird because when I was home, I didn't really. I don't know. It's a weird one. Like when I was away, I would need to see my mum. I would like phone my mum at my grand's house, pure crying, like being sick. And even if I was to stay at my grand's and stuff, and it's so weird looking back because I'm so close to my granny and grandpa, but I couldn't do it. Like if I knew I had to stay there's one weekend, I'd be sick. Like the week before it, I'd be sick there. I wouldn't sleep. I'd phone my mum. I'd text my mum. So like my gran used to take my phone off me before my bed to make sure I didn't text my mum and dad like when they're trying to enjoy their night out, and I'm sure messaging them asking to come home. Um, but no, that's kind of completely over with now. It was just such a weird phase. Like I don't know, it was strange.
But then, how much for you was the issue of peer pressure? Did that have an effect on your anxiety?
Yeah, peer pressure. Do you know? I remember one time, I stayed at my friend's house. Like, I mean, it's like a 2 minute walk away, and she was having a sleepover with all the girls. I think it was for her birthday, and they were all talking about it in school. It was more me that put pressure on myself to do it, because they were all talking about it like the night before what they're going to like do and all that, and obviously just excited for it. And I was like, right, I'm just going to go force myself because I felt as though I'd be like pure laughed at if I didn't go, even though I knew I wasn't because like they're my friends. It was just me in my head. And then like at that, I was in there for about an hour, I think, and I had to get my mum to pick me up because I was like, I just need to be home. Like, I honestly, I can't even explain why I thought I didn't even think something bad was going to happen. I just didn't enjoy being away from my house. It was weird.
As you look back now as an adult, does that would that definitely have been the first sort of sign of a mental health issue that you can think of?
Um,
That you maybe at the time wouldn't have been old enough to understand, but
yeah,
as you look back, that would be the yeah.
yeah, no, definitely. And I think during lockdown, I was able to reflect obviously so much on it. Um, and I could see kind of where it was coming from, and I was like, that's probably been the root of it. Um, and then other things just started to kind of realize more like about my confidence and stuff like that when I was younger. I'm still not the same with my confidence, but it all does kind of like piece together when you actually sit down and think about it.
When we think about secondary school, how would you have described your mental health at that time? Were there highs, were there lows? How high were the highs, how low were the lows?
Oh, see, to be honest, I didn't really like school. I wasn't very clever in school. Um, so I was basically there for like the social aspect of it. To be honest with you, I was just kind of making my way through it. So probably the highs were like seeing my friends, um, yeah, just kind of seeing everybody. And the lowest was probably because I wasn't really smart in school. I never really put enough effort into it. And then when it came to sixth year, everybody was like, all my friends were getting like their uni courses or their college courses. And I was just applying for stuff and I wasn't getting anything. And that was when I just kind of felt a bit shit. I was like, oh, I'm obviously not smart enough, or I don't I don't have enough qualifications. And I was like, oh, I'm going to end up with nothing type thing. But I didn't really enjoy school. I didn't, I didn't really like it, to be honest.
I think in our sort of lifetimes and as we've grown older, the effect of Instagram has grown stronger and stronger. How bad can that be for mental health?
I would say, so I'm 23, so probably when it was like 21, 22, it was quite bad because, do you know what I mean? Like, I follow all the influencers, and I do kind of keep up to date with it all, which does put such a,
Is that not that's a mistake?
yeah, it puts such an impact on my mental health. Anyone's, to be honest, because they have all the nice clothes, and you're like, oh my god, they're pure up to date with everything. And then when it came to mental health side, they were always posting like nice happy pictures, and they were obviously like posting nice quotes and stuff. And I was like, oh, why can't I just be like that? Like, they just have such a positive mindset and they're always glowing. And I'm like, it took me to actually delete Instagram to kind of work on myself in real life to be like, I have no idea what these people are going through. Do you know what I mean? Because I was doing it myself. I was posting happy pictures. And there was a picture I posted, I think it was my 23rd birthday. And I posted a picture and I had like my makeup on and had a filter on. And I mean, I looked all right in it, but the inside, I was absolutely, I was gone. Like, my mental health was so bad. And it wasn't until I worked on myself and I realised, I was like, they could be doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Um,
But by design, it's people like life exists 24/7, 365, and Instagram is a square on a screen taking at a snapshot in time. It's only what you want it to be. there's no way of saying that that's reflective of their real life because as soon as they, as you say, the influencer, choose any of them, they'll smile for the camera. As soon as that picture's taken, you don't know what their mindset is.
No, that's it. I know, and I think I put so much pressure on myself, like to be like that. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So, but then I was like, no, like let's be realistically. So I just deleted Instagram. I think I deleted it for about 4 weeks or something. Just kind of focused on real life.
And did that help?
Oh, massively. Like, obviously, it did. Like, things get shit before they need to get better. So it did. That's how it kind of worked its way. But yeah, no, it did. It made such a difference. And it's made me have a different outlook on it as well, which is good.
In what sense?
Probably like not caring. Like, I would kind of be annoyed. I feel this is actually quite bad saying this out loud, but like, see if I wasn't to get a good picture on a night out, it would probably annoy me like for the rest of the night. And then that's when I would compare myself. Like, say I was going to a club and I was like, oh, look at all these pretty girls. Like, I can't even get a decent picture on a night out. Or like my friends would be taking pictures of me and they'd be like, oh, that's so nice. Whereas I'm like, nah, like I felt as though they were just saying that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, no, you're just saying that because you want me to hear it type thing. Um, so yeah, it did take a wee bit of an impact on that as well.
What do you think about the feature they've brought in that disguises, if you want to, the number of likes that a picture gets?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I actually seen that last week. I think it does. It takes that pressure away for both people, to be honest. Like people using Instagram and people who've put the photo up. Do you know what I mean? Because then, yeah, you just it gives you something less to care about on Instagram, like people's likes. Because at the end of the day, it literally is an app. And I know people do work on it. Like I do understand that, but like for me, I'm just like I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't see myself doing stuff like that because I feel like I'd care too much.
Move on then, keeping on the theme of being an adult. So if you're comfortable saying, then what mental health issues do you suffer from?
So I suffer from anxiety. Um, it's do you know I've not actually been diagnosed with it. Like I've always been to doctors and stuff. A doctor's never really sat down and said to me, "You have anxiety." Um, I've just been kind of based on myself that I do have anxiety. And then, do you know, really during lockdown, it got bad. That's because I had so much time, like everybody in the house, myself. I had nothing else to think about, so my head was just like, oh, think about this, like, and it did. It was an awful time to be honest. In lockdown, it was more like the lockdown from. Oh, I can't remember. It seems that long ago. See the one like from just before Christmas.
The January to April one, sort of when it was the
Yeah,
cold
that
weather.
one. Yeah, so see like the dark nights and stuff like that. I was in a job that I didn't like. Um and I was waking up and it was dark and I was coming home and it was dark and that was just playing a pure big impact on my anxiety as well. And oh I just it's so weird looking back because I just feel like such a different person now. Like I was literally dragging myself out my bed. Like oh it was just awful and like I could feel the body weight. Like see when I was walking about I could just feel myself like dragging as if it was just such an effort to be like awake or like in work. Um, so I'd say, yeah, just anxiety really, and I suffered a bit from sleep anxiety, um, which means really that I didn't sleep. Um, I'd had to go to work with like an hour's sleep or something like that, and the job that I used to do it was quite heavy going. So honestly, it was just like a pure spiral.
Was your employer supportive of what you were going through, or did you not tell them, or did you tell them and they couldn't give a shit?
No, that my employer was actually good. I wasn't going to tell them, because I was like, oh, like what's the point? Like I didn't feel like it would change anything. But the night before, I actually remember it. Like I was starting work at 7:30 in the morning, and my anxiety was so bad that so I was trying to listen to a podcast to go to sleep. I was listening to the telly because I knew that I had to be up in so many hours, and then I hadn't slept the full night, and that's when I kind of had a bit of a breakdown to my mum, and I was like, right, I'm going to need to tell my work. So I went in and spoke to my manager, and she was really good about it. She let me obviously have some days off, and she was always messaged me just kind of me keeping her up to date type thing. So no, I can't complain about that. She was helpful when it came to that, which is lucky because I know some places are just like, "Oh, well, you need to get on with it." Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever sought professional help or been to the NHS for anything to do with your anxiety?
Yeah, so I done counselling. It was a 6 week course, but like that because it was COVID, it was over the phone. Um, and it was weird because I've never actually met the counsellor, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm pure. I know it's always like all confidential, but it's weird because I'm like, I never met this woman. I've told her like about all my anxieties, but no, that was good. That was once every month, and it was an hour session, and it was just basically like that's really where the help came from. And then I went to the doctors and I got put on antidepressants, um, which I'm actually off now. So that's a good sign. And I have all like my counsellor would send me stuff. So she would send me stuff in the post. So I've just got like a big folder in that because like I know I'm still going to have bad days. Do you know what I mean? So it's always handy to have. So yeah, I've been to the doctors and I've been to counselling.
Not with it. Don't want to ask what a counsellor says because I guess it's private. But do they give you strategies and things that, as you say, talking about the bad days, things that you can try to help pick yourself back up?
Yeah. So basically, it's like coping mechanisms. So um, I would kind of explain to them a situation where I would just kind of zone out, and then they would like honestly they'd send me. She said the size of this booklet is massive, and they would send me so many different coping mechanisms, or like if anything was triggering my anxiety, like basically it was like a traffic light system. So it's like stop, kind of like get yourself back to like kind of where you're at, and then there was a thing you do. It's actually good. It's called like 5 sentences, I think it's called. So sometimes I would zone out my anxiety, and to bring myself back, I would like what can I smell, what can I see, what can I touch, and that brings you back kind of like slowly as well, instead of pure panicky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got you. And do you check in with her on a like regularly or
Well, I used to, but I'm completely signed off from it now. So, but I've always got the number if I need any help. But with my medication, when I was on it, I would because they would only give me like a month's supply, and then I would phone back because I'd need to check in. Um, but now I just check in with myself. I just have like a journal and I just write in, kind of. I just do a wee self check in. Really, it's quite good.
people should always write down the thoughts because I think it's easier to relate back because you don't always trust what you can remember sometimes. Whereas if it's written
Hmm.
down, I think it's easy to refer back and think, geez, I remember that day and what was happening and how I was feeling.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's good as well because see if you are having a pure shit day and you've wrote in your journal when you've had such a fun day, you can look back on that and you can be like, oh well, I had a good day there. So not all days are bad. Do you know what I mean? Like when you think that oh life's pure shit and I don't even have any good days, and it's like all about reflecting. You're like, well, no, like your head's just lying to you.
Yeah, because like say, for example, you had a string of 4 bad days in a row and then you get to day 5 and you think, when is the next good day going to come? I forget what it feels like to even had a good day. But then you could look back in your journal and 2 weeks ago, you went out for dinner and drinks with your friends and you
Hmm.
think that makes you realise, geez, the good days weren't so long ago and that I'm just getting myself stuck in a
Yeah.
rut.
No, 100%. Like literally. So no, it is. It's so good to have, and it's personal to you as well. Do you know what I mean? Nobody needs to read it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm all for journals. I think they're great.
Hmm. Yeah, no, definitely.
If we go back to just before lockdown, so if we say February 2020, can you remember what your life was like then, and then how the first lockdown changed things that were happening in your life?
Oh my God, right. Well, oh, that seems pretty ages away. It's hard to actually think of life before lockdown, isn't it? So February, honestly, like I was always like out. Like I just love being around like my family and friends. Like I enjoy it so much. Um, so I was always out like every weekend, or I was like up with my family and stuff. So, and then when it hit lockdown, do you know, actually, I was supposed to be leaving my work as well. So I was supposed to be leaving my job to go to Ibiza as well, with one of my friends, Chloe. We had everything sorted. Like we handed in our notice. We had accommodation booked, and yeah, and then obviously the lockdown came, and then that's when it kind of started because I was like, oh, like this is pure rubbish. Like I was ready to pure live my life. Um, and then not being able to see my family was that's when it started to get really, really hard because it's on Skype and it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? Like we always all our birthdays are quite close together in my family, so we always like do stuff special and we always have Sunday dinner with each other, and then not being able to do that was just rubbish. Like it was really hard. Um but it actually, do you know, it brought me, my mum and my brother closer because you kind of had to deal with it. So that was good, like the aspect to that. But just anxiety, like the overthinking. It was like, oh, like what is my life going to be like? Because I was like, I'm in a job I don't like, and then it just get everything just pure piled up in my head. Um, and then that's when I was like, right, I do really need to work on myself. And looking back in situations, I was like putting myself in situations before that weren't even like doing anything for me. I was changing myself because I was like, oh, if I do this, somebody will like me. Or
Was that in terms of a boyfriend prism, like changing yourself for male, or if you're
um,
like male desire, or just could that have been a
yeah,
social desire as well?
oh, do you know, a bit of both, but really probably male desire. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing you saying that
No,
out loud
because
on the pod.
that's the point though, that these things need to be spoken
Yeah,
about. I think it's the more you make it a taboo subject, the worse it is when it does happen.
yeah, no, definitely. Like, I'll admit it as well. Like, if I was to go on a night out and like, if I didn't feel nice, I was like, oh, right, no boys are going to find me attractive. Um, so, oh, do you know, it's all about this thing called the male gaze. My friend Heather, she actually gave me this, recommending this book. It's something about how to get over a boy,
Right.
and it's not like how to get over a boy in particular. It's just all about like the male gaze.
Yeah.
Like men, like don't dress yourself just to impress a man. Like don't do certain stuff just to impress a man. Whereas like I'd be like, oh, like nobody's speaking to me. Like some of my pals will get boyfriends, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. But then I'm like, no, I don't.
See, is that I think that full dynamic between men and women can be insane, because I think that, see, as soon as you go down the route of doing anything to appease not even a man but men in general,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very slippery slope, because you're then putting your, it's not even your own, it's not even for one person's feelings, it's what you think somebody might like. That's you, because you're
Yeah,
like, say
no, definitely.
you're getting yourself ready for a night out. So say you're, I don't know, you've been at work, you're coming in, you're going out at night, and you take off your uniform and you think, right, I'm going to get myself ready here. You can't even think about what you would like to wear. It's what you think fictional male A might want to see you look like,
Yeah,
which is insane.
no, I know definitely. Like, see, before, like, I was in a relationship like years ago, and it was fine because like I would wear stuff, but then I'd be like, oh, well, it's fine 'cause I've got a boyfriend. Like, I don't need anyone like to impress. Well, obviously, but like when I was on a night out, and then after I was like, oh shit, like maybe I should actually been trying to impress people. Oh, it's actually quite funny looking back.
And then the male gaze on the opposite side of that, I am pure paranoid about ever having. I would never want someone to think of me as being the person that gazes. So see, when I think of
Yeah,
me, when I'm in the gym, I'm like head down. You don't look. If you clock a
yeah.
female in the eye, then it makes you look as though that's what you're doing, and that's like, ugh, I'm pure paranoid.
I
But I
know.
don't want
No,
to
I
get
totally get
cancelled.
you.
Is my thing. Don't want to end up getting cancelled.
Cancelled. Oh, cancelled culture.
Exactly. If you look for somebody in the eye for half a second too long, then you're X, Y, and Z. So you just think, no, just look at the floor. You'd rather be
No,
awkward than a weirdo
I
than.
just give me your headphones and put your head down. That's you.
So then, if you think about that, the first lockdown, what was more like pertinent, the bond that you strengthened between you, your mum, and your brother, or your anxiety? So which one, when you think back to it, which was stronger? Like what you gained through family ties, or what you lost through being anxious about other things?
Um, that's actually a bit of a tricky one. Probably when it was being anxious, like, see, in a way, I feel like that lockdown was a blessing in disguise for me because I got to work on myself. Obviously, it's good that me and my brother and my mum have got closer. Like, because it's only the three of us, I feel like we had to get on with it. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't much of a choice. So yeah, probably anxiety because yeah, that did get stronger because I just had so much time myself and I'd be out with my friends all the time usually, and now I felt trapped, probably like a lot of people did. Just felt trapped and just like overthinking stuff. Like I'm a pure massive overthinker as it is. Like seeing a night out, I get pure anxiety. Like it's actual quite bad. Like I'll turn my phone off and all that. Um. So yeah, and I probably had the same anxiety.
And see now that you're saying that about lockdown, I guess lockdown, what my perception of anxiety would be, a potentially good thing for that would be that you're not seeing people. So if you are on your own, if you get anxious about social settings, then if you're locked down, there is no social setting. So what has it been for you to go back into the nightclubs and the bars and the restaurants? Has there been any negative side effects of that?
No, not at all.
That's
I've
good.
just loved
That's
being
good.
out. Like yeah, no, I've loved it. I've loved seeing everybody again and like just catching up with everybody. I mean, nobody's got really much to catch up on. Do you know what I mean? Like we've all been locked down for ages, so no, it is so nice to be back out and like having a life.
That's good because you hear people that when I think about this, it's the two women in my work that I work with, and they talk about how I don't think any of them have anxiety or diagnosed anxiety, but they always talk about how
Mm-hmm.
going back out is quite stressful because it's been weird. They feel funny being around people again, and you think
Yeah,
it's
no,
mad. And you think I actually understand it, but you could then think that might be amplified for somebody who actually does suffer with anxiety. But that's really good that the enjoyment of being out is comes above any anxiety that you have about going back out.
no, definitely. I think see when we were in lockdown and stuff was like talks of being opening up. I obviously have a bit of anxiety because I was like, oh my god, like I've not spoke to anybody like outside my house for about a year. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to need to actually take like wear something nice instead of like joggies or my
Yeah.
pajamas and like so that was obviously a bit anxious and then the pre nerves and all that before you go out. But now I'm wanting to go out.
I remember you think back to last year, and it was I keep my jeans. It's like where I hang up my clothes. My jeans is in a shelf
uh,
underneath, and I remember the first time it was maybe August or September. I think, geez, when was the last time I had jeans
they're pure uncomfy. Like I still don't wear jeans now.
oh, putting jeans on that. I don't feel my calves. I preferred my calves to be free.
I know you do. I know you feel pure trapped, don't you? Like, you know, I remember one time I went on a walk, you know, when we had to do these daily walks,
Yeah.
and I bumped into one of my friends, and we both had the same water bottle, and it was so awkward. And I literally just said to him, I was like, "Oh my god, we have the same water bottle." And after that, I was like, "Oh no, man, what am I
Is
doing?"
that how bad the chat? Like
Oh, that sounds bad. And I actually seen him like when we went out, and I was like, "I need to apologise for that, baby. I just have nothing to say to you."
So you were telling me that you were planning to go travelling last year, and you did go this year. Am I right in saying that it did happen this year? Tell me about that
It
story
did for a wee bit.
for all your sins.
Right, there's only so much I can speak about on here about it. No, I'm kidding. No, oh man, it started off well. I was pure buzzing about it. I did go, but I came home because I feel like I wasn't ready to actually be there as well with my anxiety. Like I thought I was ready to go to Ibiza, live the party life and all that myself, and nah, I wasn't really, to be honest. So I went for a job. It was a shop girl I was doing, and it was a commission based job. So I didn't really think about it before I went. I just thought, you know what, I'm leaving a job I don't like. I'm going over to Ibiza, so what's not to like? And it wasn't until I was actually in the job I was like, nah, this isn't me. Like I felt as though I was kind of selling myself to make money. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a commission job, and it was just so quiet. Like because it was just families, because everybody it was still like strict over there. And see, going over myself, it was lonely. Like I made friends, like friends for life, but I was still pure lonely. Like I'm in a group chat with all my friends and they were all going out and they were asking, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, what's everyone wearing and all that? And I'm like, I just pure miss. I didn't think I would miss, but I did miss being around my friends and I just felt quite alone over there. And I did, I'm not gonna lie, I felt homesick because I was like, okay, it would pass. Do you know what I mean? It's just so new to me. Like, I've came over here myself, I've left everything. But the more I thought about it, I was like, oh no, I don't think this is for me. I'm still going to go traveling next year, but I'm not going to kind of work and I'm actually going to see places because I'm not going to let it stop me. Like, just that one wee thing. Like, I'm adamant that that's a kind of goal for me is to go traveling.
And where are you
And
planning
that's
on
what I'm
going?
going to do. Like, see if I've got a thought. I don't actually know. No, probably like Europe. We're going to do Europe. It's actually a girl I met in Ibiza, Ava. So we're going to do that. But yeah, no, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and that was all right. But I was scared to come home because I was like, oh my god, like I'm actually coming home. Like I've pure set myself up to be there since October, until October. And I was a bit embarrassed coming
Oh,
home
so you're
actually.
still, you should still technically be there.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sitting in my car in the rain. I know, but no, and I feel, do you know, I'm a pure strong believer, and everything happens for a reason. As cliche as it sounds, like I swear by that.
I
So
like what's for you won't go by you is my
yeah,
favourite.
100%. And it's so true. Like, see if you actually think about it, or like you manifest that quote, it's so true. Like, I feel like if a door closes, another one opens, and that was for you. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like coming home, and then obviously I got my new job. So I feel like I came home for a reason.
Tell me a bit about your new job and why you like it. You obviously don't have to say where you work, but what do you do and why is that a good thing for you?
Yeah, so I work. I'm like a waitress type thing. In a bar in Glasgow. And I can also work behind the bar. But oh my god, it's a cocktail bar. So you try to like do all the cocktails. It's a bit stressful, but I just love it. It's just what a difference it is. I think a lot of the problem was in my old work. I was a nursery teacher, so I was in the baby room, and it was just constant screaming. And obviously, they're babies; they can't tell you what's wrong with them.
Hey.
And it's like, oh God, man, like, and see, going over sometimes going in like a 2 day hangover, it's like, oh, this is bad. But see, now I'm like with people, like we're all kind of similar ages, and I'm working with the public still, and I love like chatting. Like honestly, I'm probably chatting away loads of rubbish now, but I could chat to anybody, like, and I just enjoy like meeting new people and so yeah, no, it's such good fun, and it's quite an easy job as well. So and everybody's so nice. So no, so I pure love it. And you know what as well, like I was saying before, when I was going to my old work, I was pure dragging myself out of bed. Now I love it. Like I'll get up without a problem and all that. Like I actually enjoy going to sleep because I'm like, oh, I'm going to work tomorrow. Like I'm going to see my friends from work. You know what I mean?
And if you work in a bar, does that mean that your hours can obviously a bar would be open much later than a nursery would for
Mm-hmm.
obvious reasons? Do you find that the later work pattern is good for your mental health, or is it not? Does it not matter?
Nah, I don't really think it matters. So the latest I'll probably finish is like 12 o'clock or like 11 o'clock. And then like if I'm on a shift the next day, it's not till like 2. So it doesn't really bother me to be honest because I enjoy it. Like see if I was to hate it, it would probably take a bit of a toll on it. But nah, not at all. Thankfully.
You started your own little Instagram page, Advice with Amy, and
Hmm.
I liked how you're open and honest about not being professional. That you're just you and you're
Yeah.
just there to help. So, what was your thinking behind starting that up?
So see at the very start of the look, I love a quote. But
Right.
like I actually get slagged rotten for
No,
quotes.
go
Like
fire on.
I'll be the
Tell us
no,
what's the quote.
honestly, I'll be the so I don't know, I'll be the pure mum. You know how like you get the people and it's like live, laugh, love.
Facebook
Like
mum, you getting that
that'll
on
be
your
me.
kitchen wall?
Actually, like like this kitchen's for wine only and shit. Like um, so I do get pure side rotten for it. So during lockdown, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to make like a wee Instagram page. I can't even remember what it was. Oh, it was Positive Amy or something like that. And it was full of quotes. And then I was posting quotes. Comes back to the whole Instagram thing. I was so low, but I was still posting these quotes. Do you know what I mean? As
Right.
if like I was feeling all right. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously my followers seen it and they were like, oh, she must be all right. So it was kind of a bit of a disguise. So I stopped that, and then I can't remember when I got the page. It was this year. I was in such a better mindset, and I was like, do you know what? I would love to help people and give them like advice and tips on how I was helped, because you know what it's like. It can be quite overwhelming for people to like phone up the doctors or be put like on a list for counselling, because then you just label yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought this is like a wee safe place for people, like if they want to message me, and I can hopefully help them because I've got all that information, like from a counsellor, from my own experience. Like, so it's going actually quite good. Do you know what I was worried about?
What
I was
you?
worried about putting it up because people would see it.
What's wrong with that? But I don't get. Is that not the point? Do you not need
Oh,
people to see it to
I
help people?
know, no, that is the point. I know, but it was just people like, oh, I don't know, like people went to school and stuff like that. I was pure worried that I
The
would get
Glasgow
slagged, even though I
slagging
know I wouldn't.
culture is pathetic, isn't
Yeah,
it? You
I know.
can't. Yeah.
Well, see where I stay. I stay in like quite a small wee. It's like a small. It's not a village. It's like an area, just like a small wee area, and everybody knows your business. Like, and I mean everybody knows it. So I'm like, oh, you're going to pure see that, and I felt it was a pure laughing stock. But my pal said like they could be watching it because they need help. Do you know what I mean? Like you never know.
But I laugh and like see if there was 99, 100 people in Lindsay, right, and 99 of them are laughing at you, and then the one person is the one who's got mental health issues and speaks to you, and you save their life. Does
No,
that's then
definitely. Do you know
worth
what I feel?
the 99 idiots is worth the one
Yeah.
impact?
No, 100%. Do you know, see, when I was actually out, when we first were allowed out, a few people did come up to me and say, they were like, "Do you know what, I'm so glad you started that page. Like, it helped me and stuff." And I actually came away and I was like, that is so lovely. Like, as you said, like helping people, you never know. Do you know what I mean? So it did, it made me like, have that other, a bit of confidence boost as well.
Plus, like the 99 versus the one analogy. If the 99 people are laughing at that type of page, then they're the idiots. It's not. How would you? Why would you laugh at that? What does that say about
I
you
know,
if you're belittling someone else for trying to help people?
I know, do you know, and I bet you people weren't. It's just when it comes back to my anxiety that I believe that. Do you know what I mean? Like a pure, that like I have that in my head and I believe it. But I know it's just me.
For the travelling next year, just as a sort of nice question, what is the most wholesome place that you've ever visited?
Oh my god, do you know what I'm actually going to say? This is so funny. It's not even abroad. Do you know? It's like my mum will be laughing at us listening to it, but it's a caravan park.
Which one?
Like, oh,
Just
not even any in particular. Honestly, I've been to so many beautiful places, and I choose like a Haven holiday park. You know what I mean? But
so we
no,
put the
honestly,
preview up of this, Amy. We'll talk about like Amy could have gone 2 weeks all inclusive to Disneyland to Orlando, but she chose to go a week to Seaton Sands.
take Tara.
Yeah.
Honestly, do you know a funny story I've actually got too? See, when I was younger, my mum told me we always just go caravan parks, and I did. I loved them because it was just so good, like family time, all like the adventure courses and all that. You could go on like the kids club at night. And I remember one year she told me and my brother that we were going abroad, and I actually was crying because I wanted to go to a caravan park. Like I was actually distraught, and she's like pure ungrateful. She was like, "We're taking you abroad, and you're crying." And see, when I was in Ibiza, my mum was in a caravan with all my cousins. And do you know, I was so upset because I felt we were jealous. They were what? Where was it? They were Haggerston Castle, and I was in Ibiza.
And you were jealous? Fair. Wow. So telling your friends can't go to Amnesia tonight because get the kiddies club. Good.
I know. We've got Rory the racing car at 8. I can't come. No, but probably there, probably like a caravan park or like a holiday park or a holiday home. Actually, do you know Arran? Arran is where,
The island.
yeah, we go a holiday home there with my family. Um, and yeah, that's probably actually, we're not even abroad, probably like family time places.
Did they? I know you wouldn't have because I would assume you were in Ibiza, but did they do a staycation this year?
Yeah, so my mum done a staycation. She, as I say, she went to the caravan and she went with my uncle. He's got 4 kids, so they all went, and then we've not had our family staycation yet, which is annoying because we always go to the same house in Arran, but we can't do that, see, because like COVID and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty rubbish. But hopefully this year we'll get away.
Just to round off then, where can people find you and or the page on Instagram?
So literally just see if you type in advice with Amy, and I have it in my bio as well, like my personal account. I don't really post anything like on my like my personal account that's to do with my advice with Amy because I like to kind of keep it separate. But my friends are always good for like posting it on their story as well. So yeah, probably that as well. Probably just basically Instagram. That's all I've got.
And there you have it. Big thanks to Amy for her time. Amy's Instagram, Advice with Amy, can be found in the show notes. The usual bits and pieces from me to see you out. The best way to keep up to date with future episodes of Lost for Words is to follow us using the handle at Lost for Words Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. To support the show, hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts, and if you're an Apple user, a 5-star review in the podcast app would be fantastic. If you like what you hear, even consider telling someone, because word of mouth is fabulous as well. But that's all from me for this week. I am your host Jason, and I hope to see you back next time for another episode of the Lost for Words podcast.